Not concerned with that. If the first petitioner has said something, if he has said it, in what circumstances he says it, is it recorded? You ask him for an affidavit. I have nothing to do with it. There are two
Sibbal appears
Hold
for
on.
him.
Let's not take time on that.
For him.
One second. Let's not take time on that. I am not standing for him for what he said if he said it. I am not here.
Mr. Sibbal, do we take it that Mr. Lone therefore unconditionally accepts the
Mullah,
sovereignty of India and that Jammu and Kashmir is an
He is
integral
a
part
member
of
of
it?
Parliament today. He has sworn to the Constitution of India. He is a citizen of India. How can he say otherwise? And if anybody has said it, Mullah, I at my level deprecate it.
No, Lord, it
Mullah,
is
what's
one
the
thing
point
for
of-
Mr.
let's
Sibbal
not-
to
Let's
deprecate
not go into an issue.
a litigant before your lordships.
Ask him to file an affidavit. Then I have nothing to do with it.
No, but it's your client. You have to ask.
I don't know.
He
You are
must
making
file
an
an
allegation.
affidavit.
I
He
don't
will
know.
not support terrorism.
Let them reflect on it.
If you don't mind, take it on the pleadings, ask him to file an affidavit. I may
it is on
not
affidavit.
appear for him. I don't know, Manoj. What have I have not to answer what an allegation that is made.
Because Mr. Sibbal, when he
And Manoj, most of them unsolicited, without reference to the arguments made by us. I don't think anybody on this side challenged the sovereignty of India. Nobody on this side challenged the sovereignty of India. I, Manoj, at the outset stated that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India.
They say your first petitioner has said something which are not in sync with.
I am not concerned with that. If the first petitioner has said something, if he has said it, in what circumstances he says it, is it recorded? You ask him for an affidavit. I have nothing to do with it. There are two.
Mr. Sibbal appears
Hold
for
on.
him.
Let's not take time on that.
For him.
One second. Let's not take time on that. I am not standing for him for what he said if he said it. I am not here.
Mr. Sibbal, do we take it that Mr. Lone therefore unconditionally accepts the
Mullah,
sovereignty of India and that Jammu and Kashmir is an
He is
integral
a
part
member
of
of
it?
Parliament today. He has sworn to the Constitution of India. He is a citizen of India. How can he say otherwise? And if anybody has said it, Mullah, I at my level deprecate it.
No, Lord, it
Mullah,
is
what's
one
the
thing
point
for
of-
Mr.
let's
Sibbal
not-
to
Let's
deprecate
not go into an issue.
a litigant before your lordships.
Ask him to file an affidavit. Then I have nothing to do with it.
No, but it's your client. You have to ask.
I don't know.
He
You are
must
making
file
an
an
allegation.
affidavit.
I
He
don't
will
know.
not support terrorism.
Let them reflect on it.
If you don't mind, take it on the pleadings, ask him to file an affidavit. I may
it is on
not
affidavit.
appear for him. I don't know, Manoj. I have not to answer what an allegation that is made.
Because Mr. Sibbal, when he invokes the jurisdiction of our court under Article 32 of the Constitution, he therefore necessarily abides by and owes allegiance to the
And
Constitution.
he's a member of the Lok Sabha. He is
How
sworn
does
to the
that matter?
Constitution of India. He's a citizen of India.
How
One second, Mr. Sibbal. But that's one second. That's a submission, Mr. Sibbal. But we want to have it from him that he unconditionally accepts that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India, and that he abides by and owes allegiance to the Constitution.
Of course.
And does not
He has sworn to it and he became a member of the Lok Sabha. Manoj. He swore to it.
Mr. Sibbal, because then when you argue and you accept, as far as sovereignty is concerned, you accept the sovereignty of
Of course.
number one, the people of India. Number two, that J&K is integral part of India. When you argue, your client says something outside the court, something different to it, there's
Well,
contradiction.
still-
And probably
still-
then, he's also accepting there was a issue and a problem which had to be dealt
Manoj,
with.
if I start, Manoj, recounting,
No, I'm not saying
what
that,
may
so
have
we be
happened,
clear on that.
Manoj, it will unnecessarily lead only, Manoj, to a media coverage. Let us not go that route. We are arguing a pure constitutional issue.
No.
If, Manoj, there is a speaker of the BJP who was present there when this allegedly happened. There are some people who asked him to say something which he did not say. Why do you want me to go into all this?
No, please go into it. I have no difficulty. Lord, there is an
It is not
affidavit.
part of the record. It has been withdrawn. It has been deleted from the record. It is said in the, what is all this? It was said in the assembly, the
Affidavit of Mr.
BJP
Judge says-
speaker was there. It was speaker not of his party. The BJP speaker was there. He was asked to say something which people ask other people to say on the streets of this country. Why do we want to go into this?
No, Lord, we would insist, Lord, you must go in.
Therefore, we accept.
Of course, but unconditionally.
We proceed on the basis that he's willing to file an affidavit before our court saying that, well, he owes allegiance like every other Indian citizen to
course.
the Constitution of India, and that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral
Of
part
course,
of the
Manoj,
country.
Manoj,
because-
first of all, one
Aspect,
second.
Lord, I'm sorry for
Will
the
you
interruption.
allow me
Another
to,
aspect,
I
the
think so,
affidavit
yes.
mentions that in all public speeches of petitioner number one, he supports separatist elements and other elements. Let him say he does not support secessionism and terrorism. No citizen of this country can have any objection in filing that affidavit.
There's
That
another
I do
petitioner,
not support
Justice Masoodi.
terrorism and
There's
secession.
another petitioner, Justice Masoodi. Please allow me to argue.
No,
For
that's.
Justice Masoodi.
That-
You want to
that's-
take any action
that's
against the
very
gentleman, you
unfair.
take
That's
action.
unfair to us.
Please don't derail a pure legal
We'll
submission.
hear it. We'll hear you for Mr. Lone as well. There's no difficulty.
He wants to have
He
it.
has come to our court. We are more than duty bound to hear his submissions, and we are in the course of hearing his submissions. All that we want to say is like everyone else here, because we have had people from across the political spectrum in Jammu and Kashmir who have presented rival viewpoints before us, different perspectives, which is welcome. That's why we are here to resolve those issues. But all of them have come here in one spirit, which is that they abide by the integrity of
You
the.
cannot be a member of the Lok Sabha and be a member there without abiding by the Constitution and an oath of office that I abide by the Constitution of India. He has to take that oath because he enters the Lok Sabha, as we all do.
That's what.
And there's an affidavit filed there, Malaj. How can that be? But be that as it may, Malaj, I did not know of this fact till this morning. Somebody
Just
raised
ask
it.
him to
Malaj.
file a short affidavit before us, a one-page affidavit. That's all that is necessary.
Lord, we are given a copy to Mr. Sibal's client, Lord.
We'll give
Everybody
the
has been
affidavit.
served.
There is
All right, we'll
there's
then-
no question, Malaj. I would not stand here. If he doesn't give it, I would not stand here arguing for him.
So before we close the argument
Yeah.
tomorrow, just ask him to file a one-page affidavit. That's all that we.
Evidence have been
Yes,
taken
Lord,
on
and I
this,
would
Malaj.
request
We have
Mr. Sibbal to insist to his client that no citizen would have any objection in saying that I do not support terrorism and
What is all this
separatist
terrorism?
activity. Let him say that, or say that I
Yes,
will
what
not
is all
say
this?
this.
What
Let
is
it be
all
clear.
this? What is all this?
Which he is supporting.
What is all this? Well, we will certainly, Malaj.
I'm sure Mr. Sibbal will.
So we'll convey this to him and he will file a short
Malaj,
affidavit.
had I known this, I would have myself.
See
Yes.
what affidavit.
Anyway.
Will you allow
we'll
me?
see tomorrow.
2:30,
Once.
half
Yes,
an hour
yes,
is lost
Mr.
just
Sibbal.
on this.
Mr. Sibbal, yes.
It's not just on this, Malad. It is a serious issue.
What is a
the
serious
legal
issue?
is
But do
serious.
you want me to say something that I shouldn't say in court?
Well, he wants his fundamental rights to be enforced in this.
There are, everybody has fundamental rights in this country.
But you take a
including
contrary
including those who on the streets you vilify.
They are also wrong.
So then that's all right, then you should apologize for them.
All right. Yes, Mr.
So let me argue the case, please.
They are not.
Mr.
They will
Solicitor, I
not
think-
represent
Sir.
them.
Mr. Solicitor, we have indicated to Mr.
Your
Sibbal
lordship
that
have
let him
indicated
now open
to
the
me,
argument.
I
Let him
made a
open the
commitment that there will be an
Yes, Mr.
affidavit.
Sibbal, you open the argument now.
Yes, please. So, Malaj, this case has been argued at different levels.
Yes.
And Malaj, I was somewhat pained when one counsel argued that we respect the sentiments of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. But you must also respect our sentiments. Now, Malaj, I think that we cannot reduce this case to an emotive majoritarian interpretation of the Constitution of India. Whereas all residents in Jammu and Kashmir are citizens of India, they are as a part of India as anybody else. If historically there is an article of the Constitution that gives them certain rights, Mullahs, they are entitled to defend that as a matter of law.
Yes.
That those rights may be taken away, may not be taken away constitutionally or without reference to the Constitution is another matter. But to say that you must respect our sentiments as if they are somebody else itself is creating a kind of chasm that shouldn't be created, especially in court. That's number one. Number two, Malaj, and I adopt Mr. Salve's argument, that we are concerned with the interpretation of 370. Read the text, understand the context, and interpret 370. I entirely agree with that. And that's exactly what I'm going to do before your lordships. Number three, Malaj, If you look at the history of India in that context, Malas, you will find that Jammu and Kashmir had no links with the rest of India, geographically. No links. No part of the territory of Jammu and Kashmir was linked to the rest of India. And the two principles on the basis of which accession had to take place was contiguity. You have to be contiguous. That's how Malas, states like Junagadh, Hyderabad, many other states which are internally, which were within India, could never accede to Pakistan because that principle could not be established. So you had to have contiguity, and you had to have population. These were the two principles. And the decision, the third, was to be taken by the ruler. These were the three principles on the basis of which accession took place. Factually, Malas, Jammu Kashmir was not contiguous to India.
How do you say that, Mr.
Because, Malas, it is Radcliffe, when he came and he made the award, he gave Gurdaspur to India. That's how we got contiguity. That's part of the Radcliffe Award. Of course, Radcliffe, when he came, knew nothing about India. So you might appreciate, Mullahs, what were the forces behind it. And Firozpur was a district connected to Gurdaspur, which had a Muslim majority population. Firozpur was also given to India. That established contiguity. That one historical fact, Mullahs, your lordships may know. And it's part of the records, Mullahs, of the case. The second grave issue that was confronting India at that point in time was Greater Punjab was Muslim dominated, not the bifurcated Punjab. The majority population was Muslim. If you gave Greater Punjab, or what was Punjab at that time, to Pakistan, their boundary would reach Delhi. Nobody could afford that. And if India got all of Punjab, our boundary would reach Lahore. Neither Pakistan would accept it, nor India would accept it. These are historical, this is a historical background in the context of which the fate of Jammu and Kashmir was to be decided. Note another fact. Jammu and Kashmir had a constitution, a detailed constitution of 1939, which had an administrative structure like any other democratic structure, except that the Praja Sabha was dominated by Dogras. In fact, all the nominees in the Praja Sabha were Dogras. Sheikh Abdullah, who had an egalitarian outlook, was dead against the ruler and therefore was imprisoned. There was a popular movement in Kashmir against Hari Singh. Sheikh Abdullah and Pandit Nehru were of the same bent of mind. Because Pandit Nehru also showed utter distaste for the concept of rulership. In fact, it was Sardar Patel who said we must honor our constitution. Nehru said, no, we shouldn't. We shouldn't give anything, no privy purses to the ruler. That's all a part of record of history. That's why when the invaders came into Jammu and Kashmir, Nehru said, release Sheikh Abdullah first. And he became the interim prime minister. He then was made a member of the Constituent Assembly of India to negotiate the terms of the details of the accession. And remember, the constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, like no other princely state in India, no other, I say, was drafted after 1950. And came into force, Maharaj, in 1956, 57. It was completed in 56, came into force in 1957. Only state, only princely state. That's one set of historical facts that your lordships must keep in mind. Second set, even more important. The Indian Independence Act was passed in Parliament in UK on the 18th of July, 1947. Originally, India was to be granted independence in May 1948. The date was preponed to 15th August 47. So after the Indian Independence Act was passed on 18th July, you had 12 plus 17 days to complete the process of signing 562, if at all, instruments of accession. On the 25th of July, note this date, that's why I said I needed to put it on record, because your lordships don't allow me. Because my learned friend Muller's filed 18 pages of written submissions and then 250 Mullers. I tried to file 5 pages and I was told I cannot, but that doesn't matter. This is all part of the record I wanted to place, but it doesn't matter. I think your lordships should take it on record, but I leave it to your lordships. Anyway.
Is it the only thing that you want to file is now this 5-page submission?
No, that was originally which your lordship denied me at that time.
What
But
do you want to file now?
because he has made some list of dates.
Sibbal, what do you want to file now?
Nothing, Manoj, just basically I have to meet the
So long,
arguments.
fair enough, but so long as what you're filing is not much more than what everybody has so far filed.
No, Manoj, why
We
would
don't
I,
want to
Manoj?
be confronted
Your
with a
lordships will-
300-page
Manoj,
document.
your lordships, I will not waste a minute of your lordship's time, Manoj.
So how big is it and what is it that you want to file?
38? 38 pages. There's nothing much.
All right. File the 38 pages, no difficulty.
Sibbal, we've even taken note of your earlier 15 pages. But if we had permitted you to file, the whole sequence would have
I
arisen.
agree. I'm not complaining.
Everyone else would have then
I am-
followed. That's
I am
the.
the last one to complain. I never once raised the issue, but when I was told that I can't file.
No, Mr. Sibbal, it was not meant for you, it was meant for everybody.
I
Trust.
know that.
So
But
don't take it-
everybody filed.
that-
The problem is everybody filed. But neither,
But
there's too
Sibbal,
little time. I
ultimately,
won't
we
go
took down